ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Living Arts YouTube channel where we discuss culture and matters arts. My name is Patrick Sentongo, and today we are celebrating the Uganda edition of World Culture Day. Now, World Culture Day is, globally celebrated on the 21st of May, but in Uganda, particularly this year, we chose to push this day to this particular day and to this particular date. And to join me for a discussion around these celebrations today that are happening currently at the Uganda National Culture Center, the National Theatre, is none other than Mr. Evarist Charimpa. Now, Mr. Charimpa is a senior culture officer at the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development that takes matters culture and arts in Uganda. You're welcome, Mr. Charimpa, to join us.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First things first, how are the arrangements for the day? I know the program already started. So far on ground at the National Theatre, if you could paint a picture, what exactly is happening?
Yes, before I mention what is happening, I want to reiterate what you have just mentioned.
Yes.
That the day is usually celebrated on 21st May. Globally.
Yes.
However, this Uganda always celebrates this day with the other countries. But this time around, this year, the day clashed with the other important activities in government. And for that matter, in consultation with the stakeholders, we agreed to postpone and to date.
To date.
Yes. So regarding the activities, we are going to have a number of activities which include the exhibitions of different artifacts and materials. We have performances of different cultures. We are happy that we are having the community of the people of concern community,
yes.
Commonly called the refugees.
The refugees.
We have the Eritreans, we have the Congolese. We are supposed to have also a group from Burundi, and they are all going to exhibit their culture in form of performances.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Charimpa. I understand this particular edition this year has a major focus on refugees, and later on we shall be talking from a team from UNHCR. Why particularly refugees for this year?
Yes, we look at the theme. The theme of this year is culture and the creative sector, an opportunity for national unity and employment creation.
Yes.
So the theme emphasizes the inclusivity. We are trying to bring brothers and sisters that are hosted by this country to be part of the world in celebrating their culture. We don't want to leave them behind.
Okay.
And that's why we are focusing on refugees for inclusivity and participation.
Okay. On ground, when I visited the grounds where the celebrations are happening, I've seen very many of the young people out there. And today, for young people, when you talk about culture, all they think of is the traditional elements, and what. But I want to believe, as a senior culture officer, you could make sense of what culture exactly is, because I believe it is a very broad thing. Culture is not only limited to the traditional elements that young people today choose to think of culture. Please, if you could elaborate more what culture encompasses.
Culture, it has different domains. When you look at the UNESCO list of the domains, they list 9, others list 13. But anyway, without going all that way, culture is a tool. Let me use the word tool. For first of all, unity, production, and peace creation.
Yes.
And it has a lot of things. There is sports, there is production of goods and services, including doing other things that can really create employment.
Yes.
So the youth, we know in our culture, we say they are leaders of tomorrow. Or the emite mito in Uganda, I say
emite mito gigumiza ekibira.
So for sustainability, we try to attract the youth.
Yes.
And I'm happy youth have started appreciating culture is not about this other practices of culture or traditional practices like
Yes.
herbal medicine and what, but it's about togetherness,
Cohesion.
cohesion, and production, which leads to goods and services, but also the
Yes.
employment.
Yes. This year, the general theme was embrace the journey, shape our future. And with much of what you've said, it also rhymes directly with this particular one. The celebrations kicked off, like we already said, and if you go to the National Theatre right now, you will be part of the celebrations. Very many activities, like Mr. Charimpa just said, and I want to throw it to you again. You're from the grounds where the celebrations are ongoing. What part, like what exactly is happening currently on ground for a person who is home to know, to get excited, to be inspired to come and join the celebrations currently?
Actually, before mentioning what is being done, what is taking place, I call upon those that are still at home to come and show what is taking place, to come and see the power of culture.
Yes.
What is taking place now? There is general interaction with different cultures. There are people are preparing for the exhibition materials, and we are now going to start showcase of cultural performances.
Yes.
So many other things are still coming in. There is fashion show. You can
Yes.
see the designs, look the kind of attires people putting on. Actually, to detail, this is real culture day.
Okay. For those that are watching us, it's also very important for you to know that this particular day, World Culture Day, originally, all still is well known as the World Day for culture diversity, for dialogue and development, which generally also is well known as the World Culture Day. Any, if you could add on that reason as to why they are both the two names in there?
Well, look, that the UNESCO came up with that culture for heritage and the
Dialogue and development.
and development. So we are not far from that kind of nomenclature. We are really, when we say World Culture Day, for us in Uganda, we opted of calling it World Culture Day, where different cultures come together, they dialogue, they exhibit their different cultures, they share information, they share knowledge, but also as a government, also we come in with the policy matters. As these communities are interacting, they are showcasing, also pick the areas policy in nature,
Okay.
and those that may call for legal environment. So as a government, we are not actually very far from the UNESCO's concept, but we are trying to customize
Right.
according to our nature or our culture.
Okay. Thank you so much. Right there is Mr. Everest Charimpa, a senior culture officer at the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, the ministry that takes over this culture, arts and creative industry in Uganda. And on that same note, it's very important to acknowledge that through the ministry, the government in the 2025-2026 fiscal year, the budget that was recently passed, it's important to note that the budget, the funding that came into this particular sector had a tremendous increase to a tune of 66 billion shillings. And for us here at the Connect for Culture Africa, that's our core goal. We advocate for, we empower Africa's sustainable development, and through public funding, sustainable public funding into the arts and culture sector. Looking at the budget increase, if you could break it down as a senior official from the ministry, it was an increase to 66 billion. If you could try to make sense of that, how will cultural practitioners, people in the industry, how will they be benefiting from this particular, budget increment into the sector?
Well, I may not be able now to break it down.
Yeah.
But what I want to assure the public and the people in culture and creative sector,
Yeah.
this time around, are going to be a big change. because the government has realized that this sector has very big contribution that it makes to the sector,
Yeah.
to the development of this country. And that's why when look at even when look at this national development plan,
Yeah. NDP is
4,
4.
yes, the sector, the creative and the culture, there are many projects there which are going to come.
Okay.
What we needed to request the stakeholders is to be focused. There has been a lot of challenges, especially when the practitioners fighting one another, creating some bukunis or some groupings, and that can really deter or hinder the government interventions.
True.
But now that there is that intervention that is coming, and that the stakeholders have started realizing that we need to work as a team,
Yeah.
I believe
To work in structures, because when
structures, yes.
when I look through now, the structures have been streamlined. When you look at from the strategic bit of it, from the ministry to UNCC to the private sector through the NCF and the various associations, I think it is a step in the right direction. A step in the right direction, and I hope the increment in the funding will also play a big role in trying to sort some of the issues. There has been a pressing factor by practitioners in the culture sector that their mandates are very scattered in various, MDAs. You'll find an aspect of culture in Ministry of ICT,
So tourism,
Ministry of Tourism, recently,
URSB.
URSB, and that's one of the pressing challenges. I don't know what the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development, that we know structurally is the one responsible for taking this industry. I don't know what medicine you're trying to put out for us to solve that big problem.
I thank you so much. There are two kind of approaches we are taking. Number one is to review the Uganda National Culture Policy, which was 2006, and now it has been reviewed, whereby all of these sectors have participated.
Yes.
And we are trying to bring this sector in one basket, in one home. Then another thing, what we're also trying to do, we are doing is to strengthen collaboration between different players, including the private sector. So we believe with these approaches, the issue of scattered mandate is going to be addressed, because the emphasis has been that let each sector implement its mandate correctly without touching here and there.
Exactly.
So we believe with this initiative we have taken, it will help us to address those challenges of the scattered mandates.
That is very true. One of the challenges, and given the fact, yes, you might be in the culture office at the ministry, but it is the same ministry that handles labor. One of the challenges we have today in this day and age still in Uganda is the challenge of unemployment. This particular industry has proved to be one of the industries that are trying to solve the unemployment problem, because we have young talents that come through, people who are into the visual arts. It's more hands-on, and it's proven to be one of the industries trying to solve the unemployment problem. What plans, or when we look at the ministry now that they are actually looking at they have increased the budget and the funding to the sector, what plans does the ministry, through this particular office, the culture office, is trying to have to panel beat and engage young people who are out there? They have the degrees, but then they have not been in position to get the jobs professionally, but this industry is welcoming them with open hands. Are there strategies, are there projects, initiatives to kickstart them off?
Yes, thank you. As a government, we have entered a number of MOUs with different countries, whereby one of the components is the cultural exchange.
Yes.
That youth can go and perform in India or Kenya or Tanzania, like that.
Yes.
That kind of exchange. Secondly, at the national level, we are coming up with regional cultural centers, and we are going to start with the cities, Then after that, it will be cascaded to different
Regions.
So we believe if this project kickstarts or it takes off, we believe most of youth will get jobs in those centers by having their creative being produced there and also marketing. Another thing we are also trying to come up with different institutions to start capacity building.
Capacity building.
Because what has been a challenge is the production of a piece that will attract the market. Because somehow we found that there was that gap. So now what we are doing, we are trying to work with different stakeholders with different skills to improve the youth skills in that area. Let's say if you are in music, if you are in cinema, if you are in crafts, what are the products are you bringing in the market to address that? Then on the other hand, is to raise awareness.
Yes.
And collaborating with the different universities to start teaching these courses. Like for example, Chambogo, they have established a course called the Culture and Heritage.
Yes.
And before we did not have these courses. At Makere, we used to have what they call, it was just like a course unit. What they used to call anthropology.
Anthropology.
And it was not culture, it was just
an element,
a component of culture. But now, most of these universities like Chambogo, like Uganda Matters, Kabale University, we have been working hand in hand with the UNESCO and they support this program to start bachelor's degree in culture.
In culture.
So we believe all this is done and embraced. Things will move on.
All right. Thank you so much. That's Mr. Evarista Charimpa, a senior culture officer at the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development. Now, any last remarks before we let you go, and we shall be ushering in a team from UNHCR, one of the senior partners and collaborators for this particular day this year.
Thank you so much for this. I'd like just to call upon the practitioners in this industry to be focused and work together as a team.
Okay.
In different structures that have been established, there are also some push and pulls around those structures. But what you need to tell them is to work together.
Yes.
To be focused on what they are doing, so that we move together, we develop together.
Okay.
That's what I can say. And to call for example, look at this today's date, today's function. We expect to see many practitioners on the ground, but whenever we call them, we try to invite them. That's a government thing, and you know, government goes where there is a number.
Numbers. Power of numbers.
Yes. That's why I see this function is always celebrated in a mild way.
Yeah.
It's not like these are days like Youth Day, like Women's Day.
Doesn't blow out.
And you see that. It's because we are working in the silos, we are working in the scattered, not only the government, but also
the practitioners.
They also work in parallel. So at the end of the day, when you bring your voice, she brings her voice. There are two only. You see that? So, but if we are moving together, like today, if you feel all this place, you see even the government coming in full swing.
That's a call to action to the
area.
Acts practitioners. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for this arrangement, and I think we shall continue working together to ensure the sector becomes what it is, what it should be. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much. That's Mr. Charimpa from the Ministry of Gender, a senior culture officer right there. And we are still continuing. This is the Living Arts YouTube channel, and today we are celebrating the World Culture Day. And this day was established by the United Nations, and it highlights the role of cultural diversity. Some of the key aspects of this particular day, the World Culture Day, includes celebrating cultural diversity and harmony. And now this speaks to recognizing the value of different cultures and traditions. It also looks at promoting intercultural dialogue. Now, intercultural dialogue here, it looks at encouraging communication and understanding between people of different backgrounds. And as we continue in this particular broadcast, I'm also going to be hosting shortly a team from UNHCR. Now, these are senior partners for this particular day, and they will also be making sense of the celebrations and what's happening today. I'll request, Madam, that you just push closer. Oh, we're having a second person, and yeah, we're still discussing matters culture today because I mean we are celebrating World Culture Day, and the celebrations are ongoing right here at Uganda National Culture Center, what many of you know as the National Theatre in Kampala. We shall be going till late. Very many activities that are happening, performances, film screening, a symposium will be starting shortly, talk shows like this one that is happening, exhibitions. Last evening we had a Choto setting and fashion shows, runways. A lot is going to be happening tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, it's World Culture Day 2025. And on that particular note, I've been joined by a team of ladies from UNHCR, and they are senior partners for this particular day. Allow me welcome you, ladies, and good afternoon. A few minutes into the afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
I will kindly ask that you introduce yourselves before we kickstart our conversation.
Thank you very much. My name is Julian Ateme. I work with UNHCR as an assistant community-based protection officer.
Okay, thank you so much.
Good afternoon, viewers. My name is Mercy Florence. I work with the Norwegian Refugee Council. Thank you.
All right. This particular day, 2025, the celebrations have a keen interest to the refugees. And I believe at UNHCR, you're the UN Refugee Agency, and much of the work that you do here rotates around that. If you could speak about some of the work that you do, but then also make some sense of your participation in this particular day today.
Okay, thank you very much. The UN
Yes.
Works hand in hand with the government in the protection of the refugees that come into the country. Of course, by and large, refugees cannot come into a country unless the government has accepted.
Yes.
But of course, Uganda is a signatory to the UN Convention.
Okay.
So our borders are always open. And Uganda particularly has demonstrated a very good example of the refugee policy in the world.
Okay.
So we have diversity of nationalities in Uganda as refugees. So we have quite a big number, I think about 13 nationalities that we are hosting in Uganda. Apparently we have 1.9 million refugees that we are hosting in Uganda.
Okay.
And we do mainly protection. And the policy of Uganda is that refugees live in the settlement.
Okay.
And we have as many settlements as that.
Okay.
In the settlements, they are given land, and they live in normally like any other Ugandan, enjoying the rights that Ugandans enjoy, except for the right to vote.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they're not allowed to vote, to engage themselves in politics. So we are in a political era. So refugees will not be...
Okay, but anything away from the voting, they are like us.
Yes, anything away from the voting, they are like us. And the beauty again about Ugandan policy is that although refugee policy, although they have gazetted camps, they are still given like freedom of movement, which is one of the rights.
Okay.
So freedom of movement allows refugees to come and live in the urban. So we have a number of refugees who live in the urban.
Okay.
And these refugees are the ones that we have here today.
Okay.
Yeah, the urban refugees. We do a number of things protecting them in the community, empowering them, teaching them the laws of the country, and also empowering them livelihoods. And also we have cultural galas like this. So that's why we are happy to be here.
You said as of 2025, Uganda hosts over 1.9 million, coming to 2 million refugees. And I want to ask, which countries are the big number of the refugees that are being hosted here, they come from which countries?
We have Eritrea, we have DRC, we have Ethiopia, we have South Sudan, we have the recent influx of North Sudan, the Sudan that is in the north.
Yes.
We also have
DRC.
DRC.
Yeah, we also have Afghanistan, we have Pakistanians, we quite have a big number of,
All right. So to pick it up from there, from some of those that are being hosted for these particular celebrations today,
Yes.
the refugees that are attending, I've seen a couple of them. Where are they directly coming from? Like they are from which? They are which kind of refugees?
Actually, we picked from all nationalities. We brought a representation of all nationalities. And we will be showcasing different kind of cultures.
Okay.
We have cultural
Dancers.
cultural dances.
We have songs.
Okay.
Yeah, ranging from different cultures, and they also want to exhibit to us their food. Yeah.
Okay. In a bid to ensure inclusivity,
Yes.
I was also told that it's I won't say it's not allowed, but is it human, or is it directly okay lately to call them refugees? I was told there is a calm name given to them, is it? So that you don't address them as refugees, is it?
I think of recent we are trying to look for which kind of how would you feel to be called, because most of the time when we are discussing this,
Yes.
we are talking about human beings.
Yes.
We are not talking about some bunch of structure that in there. So it's part of the healing process, trying to recognize that during displacement, people go through a lot.
Yes.
So continuously, which kind of I think categorization could we have that makes us feel that even when we have moved from our countries, we are in another country of asylum, we are still humans. And that's why my colleague did highlight that the Ugandan policy, the refugee policy of 2006, is very, very inclusive to the fact that they are saying that refugees should be able to access services at the same front like Ugandans.
Yes.
So that's why even in our interventions, we do not work outside government. So if it comes to health, we have now, like for Kampala, we work with KCCA. If it comes to education, we are encouraging refugees to go to the Ugandan schools, the government schools, so that the nature of education they are having is inclusive. It's more adaptable than actually having their own kind of separate education system.
On that same point, understanding that Uganda implements the comprehensive refugee response framework, and you talked of refugees being more like us Ugandans, apart from the aspect of voting. Understand they get the same education, the same services like we do. There have been challenges where some of these refugees come out and they say that they have been denied some of the basic elements like national IDs. Even in the employment world, when I was still in school, I studied with a couple of South Sudanese people from the DR Congo, but out here in the employment world, mostly in the formal world, they are not, some of them actually say that they are limited in aspects like those. Even in regards to settlement, if you're a friend to social media, particularly X, formerly Twitter, I think the past month there were conversations around some residents in the areas of Kansanga saying that this has become more like a refugee, settlement kind of area. I want you to paint a picture or speak to that element. If we talk about the inclusivity, have they been sidelined in a way, because we don't seem to see them out here in the employment world? Some talk about the issues I've raised of national identity and even settlement.
I think we'll start by appreciating government of Uganda. It has been very welcoming, very generous to the refugees, to all the forcefully displaced persons. But also it's important for us to appreciate that in Uganda, not every person that you see an Eritrean is actually a refugee. There are those who have come on business, investors, but basically one of the things we have seen, the challenge is for people the ability to differentiate between a refugee, but also a person who is an investor or a person who migrated due to economic challenges. So that is, and for us, we always say that the way you can identify a refugee is by their identification. And just maybe to clarify is that refugees cannot have national IDs. National IDs, that means it's only a reserve of government of Uganda for only Ugandans. And going back to sidelining, we are coming at a time where Uganda just celebrated the World Refugee Day, which was in Chiriandongo settlement, and one of the things we are actually advancing is peaceful coexistence. We are talking about social cohesion, that as a country we need to understand how are our brothers and sisters from Eritrea, from other countries, actually supporting or helping this country to develop. We have seen a number of developments that are coming through because of their existence. So rather than looking at the numbers, saying that numbers are coming, how do we look at the potential that comes with the different people within our fraternity? That, for example, how do we explore? We are looking at richness in culture. We are looking at richness in a number of things. How do we then start relating with one another to make Uganda more of a better country? And as we always say, that potentiality for anybody to become a refugee can never happen. So how would you feel if today you woke up from here and you must be in Eritrea and people are telling you, please go back?
Sure.
So we just want to practice the brotherhood. We want to practice the sisterhood and say, how do we come together? Because we believe that in diversity, we are united in culture. For me, that is the perception we hold.
And Uganda really is known as a very welcoming country. So I hope that is well addressed. Maybe to also ask. Yes, in addition.
Yeah, in addition, you've talked about, you mentioned something to do with Kansanga, or
Yes, Kabalagala, Kansanga, the areas there.
Yes. So it's an opportunity for us to speak to the world outside there. We will give an example of us Ugandans. If we left Uganda today and went to a foreign country, when you find a fellow Ugandan, isn't that the best place you fall in line with?
True.
You would want to be
to associate
with that person who has been in the country before you, has understood the do's and don'ts, has understood the rules and regulations, the policies of the country, so that you are easily initiated. Remember, we have an issue that when you go to a country, you don't speak their language, but you have found your fellow country person who has been there and has learned and is speaking the language. So you definitely want to settle there. So what happens with the refugees? They live in batches. Yeah. What makes them to live in batches is that issue of, how do I take off from this country? How do I understand what is going on in the country? I have to go to where my friends have settled before, and therefore I will learn from them, and at the end of the day, I can also fall in line. So they end up living in batches. So Kabalagala per se has fallen victim of the Eritreans, because maybe the first Eritreans settled there. But like my colleague has said, we need to look at it from a positive end. How has the coming of refugees to stay in Kabalagala made Kabalagala to evolve? Kabalagala is lively because there are so many businesses that have come up because of the existence of the refugees, Eritreans per se, in Kabalagala. The question is, maybe Ugandan will say, we can also do that. It's now that we are feeling we can do that because someone has set an example. So why don't we appreciate the person who has set an example before we run away from saying that they're taking over our
Okay, yeah. I understand. So ideally, the people, the Ugandans staying in the areas of Kabalagala, Kansang, and that end, it's not from bad interest that these people are there. She explained it really very well, that even if it's yourself, when you move, let me say you're from the western part of Uganda, if you moved to Gulu, you'd want to associate where you find your fellow Westerners, because I mean they have understood the culture and the dynamics of the particular natural instincts. All right. As per your website, it is said that as of November 2021, Uganda hosted about 1.5 million of the refugees in a space of around 4. If I calculate well, it has increased to 1.9. Understand now they also give birth and they expand in number. So I want to pick from you, do the children that have been birthed in Uganda by refugee parents, does that automatically make them Ugandans?
By birth.
By birth.
Yes. They're Ugandans by birth, but they still have their country of origin. So somehow by policy, I think they're supposed to be having dual citizenship.
Dual citizenship.
Yeah, because they still follow their parents' lineage, but they belong to Uganda by birth.
Okay.
It's just like any other person, even you in Uganda. We have our citizens in the US. When they are born in US, they're citizens of US by birth, but they are Ugandan. So also refugees, in some way, but the policies we're still working on this and that.
Okay.
We cannot speak concretely on that. It is the government of Uganda that should speak on that.
All right, thank you so much.
Maybe I wanted just to emphasize, just in line with what she has raised, when you read Article 10, 11 up to 15 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda 1995, it clearly provides grounds on who qualifies to be a citizen of this country. So children born to refugees may remain refugees. But nobody is claiming a child under the age of 5, and nobody is claiming this child, and the child is found to have no parents. Literally, the Constitution protects such a child. But definitely, they will not lose. You can only acquire statusship. It is basically, citizenship is acquired through naturalization, by registration, by birth. But there are also certain legal implications that you must fulfill, and you must have your nationality or tribe should have been part of the indigenous communities as of 1927. So there are quite a number of modalities, but refugees will always remain refugees until when they relinquish their status. For example, I apply to the High Court and I want to become a national. I want to become a Ugandan. So that means I must take back my documents to OPM and I'm leaving the refugee status, if at all, the High Court actually grants your plea for you to become a Ugandan. So there are those elements where we are working with the Ministry of Internal Affairs, trying to work on the migration policies and see for the refugees who feel that, for example, I cannot go back to my country where I came from and I want to nationalize and become a Ugandan. What is the process like? So you become a Ugandan by registration, and there are procedures through which you can be registered and you can acquire citizenship. But short of that, you will remain a refugee at all times until when you forfeit one state, apply to turn to another state. Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much. Speaking on behalf of the UN Refugee Agency. Now, I want to take you back to the World Culture Day celebrations today, where I will call you senior partners because you've been so fundamental in trying to make this particular day happen today at the National Theatre. What implored, UNHCR to be part of this particular day and the celebrations?
First and foremost, of course, we received an invitation from UN system.
Okay.
And we were happy to be part of it. One, you're talking about culture. And once you're talking about culture, we, as UNHCR and all the partners that we work with, we have already been, celebrating the refugee cultures. Now, refugees come from their countries, and they come when they're devastated, they're stressed, they have a lot of trauma. For us, for so many years that we have been working with refugees, we know that culture keeps them together. So we have been encouraging them to make sure that they do things, cultural things,
yes,
so that we keep them together. So some of these refugees stay in asylum for a very long time. Yeah. So what happens is a child who is born in asylum can end up becoming an adult before they go back to their country of origin. Now, when is that child going to understand their culture if we do not allow them to exercise and practice their culture?
Wherever they are.
From wherever they are. So for us, we've already been doing it. So when we got an invitation from you, we were really happy to be part of it. And because we have challenges with the peaceful coexistence, the challenges actually mainly come from culture, because Ugandans do not understand the cultures of the refugees. Personally, we work with them, and we have learned the cultures along the way. So we felt like this is a platform for us to showcase what the refugees have, the Ugandans to come to see and know and appreciate the cultures of the refugees. And maybe in this way, we can also promote peaceful coexistence. Most of the cultures that the refugees refugees display are misunderstood by Ugandans.
Okay.
I normally like to cite an example of the Eritreans and Ethiopians. They have their small coffee tea that they take, you know.
Yeah.
But the Ugandans feel funny about it.
Yeah.
But for them, they are happy to sit around their pots and enjoy their tea. It brings them together. But when Ugandans see them coming together, they are not happy. So maybe from this function, and maybe henceforth, I just heard that this is the first time we are having this, and we are happy to be part of it, and continually be part of it. Sure. When we have more Ugandans come on board, they will be able to appreciate the culture, and maybe it will help to improve the relationship between the refugees and the host community when they are appreciating the cultures that they have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember, I think, was it the late Lucky Dube once sang and said different colors, one people. And what we are evidencing today is just basically reciting what he once said, that different colors, it's just one people. That there is beauty in diversity. That and that's why it's important that because culture forms your primary care identity. Right from childhood, you need to know that for me, I am a Muganda, and this is how we do things in Buganda. And you need to appreciate the beauty around your culture. And that's why even when refugees come in Uganda, we encourage them. Now, normally, there will be negative traditions within cultures. Those are the ones that we must now counteract. For example, you will find where there are situations of female genital mutilation, there are some traditions that contradict with culture, because culture is not in itself not bad. It's a very good thing. Everyone should be able to align to a particular culture, but sometimes there are those negative traditions. So we are working on those negative traditions, get them out, and we tell people that there is nothing that you can do but to live your culture, embrace it, and use your culture as one way of connecting out to the global world. Thank you.
Right. Very impressive, and I want to thank you, because there was no other person to work with apart from the structure of the, let me say, the Uganda National Culture Center and the Ministry of Gender, because these are the institutions that are really holding culture way up there in the country. I would love to also interest you as new people that are coming into the industry of culture, the arts and creativity. It is a rather big industry, and part of the ways that we can help spread the gospel of cohesion and people want, working together, Ugandans understanding the refugees from the point of their culture, so that we can bond and be together, is we have filmmakers. This particular podcast is powered by a team of Palwood. Now, Palwood are Ugandan local filmmakers. They tell stories, typical Ugandan stories. We have artists, we have associations of artists, we have visual artists, and now these people are deeply rooted into the Ugandan masses and people. So if we tapped into these spaces and associations, take an example of a team like Palwood, Ugandan filmmakers, how do we collaborate, work with Palwood and create a story around, now like the example you gave of the areas of Kansanga, like well explained, even any Ugandan without they would typically understand that, oh, even if it's myself and I moved from Masaka to Arua, I'll first find my person who speaks Luganda. How do we use our industry, our people, say an example of Palwood, local filmmakers, to tell stories, even if it means working closely with some of the refugees, to tell stories around that. I think that will be a step in the right direction to try to solve some of the problems that are, affecting our refugees today. So that's been it. The team is from the UN Refugee Agency in Uganda, and they were trying to make some sense of their participation and being part of this. They are part of the work that they do. Thank you so much. I want you to say your very last remarks in regards to the day and the celebrations before we can call this a day.
Thank you very much. I would like to call on Ugandans.
Yes.
To appreciate the presence of refugees in Uganda, because they have a very big positive contribution that we may not see with our naked eyes, but I'm sure the people who work maybe in government and in the different offices can be able to evaluate and see how much our refugees are contributing to us. And then there is nobody who would wish to leave their homes.
True.
To come and suffer in a foreign country, in foreign land. as you see them, they look, the fair skin sells them. They look like they are well off and so on and so forth. We have a perceived perception about them, but that is not the situation. They're also here just to save their lives. They're taking an umbrella. Uganda is an umbrella to them. And they're struggling and striving. When you see them doing small businesses to survive, they do the same things you do, the arts and crafts, for example, you know, and then we feel bad about it because you feel like they should be doing the big things. There's no way they can do the big things because they don't have anything to start with. The little that we give them, they have to use their brains to see how to survive.
Yes.
So as much as the government has given us the good policies, which are, by the way, known in the whole world. We have the best refugee policy. So as much as the government has given us the good policies, we as Ugandans are the ones who are supposed to enact the policy and make it live.
Make it work.
Yes, make it work. So it's working. I can't say it is not working. It's working, but of course we have those small elements of some people who have not understood really who a refugee is. But I'm happy about people who live in the borders because we have, before the coming of President Museveni into power, we had different kind of wars also in Uganda. And some people have fled to different countries and they felt it. So they know what it means to be in asylum. So let's welcome these people. Let's give them the audience that accord them the support that they need because they have a problem. They are not here at will. Some of them are very rich in their countries.
Yeah.
But you imagine you leave everything and just say, okay, let me take my life as long as I'm alive. So the same thing can happen to us. Supposing our security system breaks down, it can happen to us as well. Would you want to be treated like that? Just ask yourself that question.
Of course, the answer is no.
Yes, the answer is no. So today's cultural event is to show you what a refugee is, and you're going to see how really they are happy when they are presenting their culture. They really love their cultures.
Yeah.
So that is to show you that they miss home, they miss the things they used to do. But you know, there's nothing to do because we are in asylum. So this space is giving them an opportunity to be happy.
And the best we can do as Ugandans is to give them that environment to live their life.
So we thank UNCC for organizing this event and for calling us to be part of it, actually, because you have given the refugees space to be happy before everybody.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity. Mahatma Gandhi once said that we must be the change we want to see in the world. And the question I put to myself and I put to the viewers out there is, what is your contribution? How can we use culture as one way of promoting social cohesion? How can we use culture as one way of developing our nations? I think for me that will be the most important thing, that we use our richness in the cultures to be able to connect out, to be able to aid the healing of people, because through culture we are able to explore and also exploit what we have. And it helps us to heal, it helps us to live physically, socially, and we are able to connect even in terms of the psychological component. So the question is, me and you, what are we doing to be able to promote our cultures, but also how do we use our cultures to be able to create development for this country? Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much. That's been a team from UNHCR, and their takeaway for me is I will take the quotes. Mahatma Gandhi, be the change that you want to see in the world. She earlier talked of Lucky Dube, who talked of one people, different colors, one people. I'll add just one more. Fide Bongole Rutaya, a Ugandan legendary, talked of today is me, tomorrow somebody else. So how do you know tomorrow you might find yourself as a refugee? So be the one to create the change and create the conducive environment that will give the refugees in Uganda a chance to live and practice their cultures. Thank you so much, ladies, and I hope we can connect and be part of the celebrations together after this broadcast. I continue, and shortly I'll be engaging the traditional healers, the people from the traditional world, as we continue to make sense and try to make sense of the celebrations and the World Culture Day celebrations 2025. Now, if you're still home, I want to remind you that the celebrations are ongoing and it's not so late for you to join us right here at the Uganda National Culture Center. That is well known as the National Theatre. The celebration started quite early, around 8 a.m. in the morning, and we shall be going till late. This live broadcast is trying to paint a picture here and there of what is transpiring. We had a conversation with Mr. Charimpa. Now, Mr. Charimpa is a senior culture officer from the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development. He was trying to paint a picture of what culture is from a broad perspective, and then from also a point of policymakers, from a point of government, how they are trying to finance and support the sector, to see to it that the sector keeps growing. Part of the key highlights we had to talk about in there was the increment into the budget. You know, the budget that is coming to the sector for this particular financial year was increased to a tune of 66 billion. Now, that's good news for us to laugh about, and we shall be continuing with these conversations as we celebrate the World Culture Day 2025. Mr. Producer, if the team is ready, I would love to have them on board, and then we continue with the conversation. But to take you a little bit back, part of the things that the key highlights that we talk about of this particular day, I'll go straight to number 3, which is supporting sustainable systems of governance for culture. Now, this speaks to ensuring that culture diversity is protected and promoted through appropriate policies and institutions. We shall be continuing with this live broadcast as I initiate in our new panel that will be coming to speak and make sense of this particular day from the traditional healers. My name is Patrick Sentong, and this is Connect for Culture Africa, and our role is strictly empowering Africa's culture through sustainable public funding. And when we talk about sustainable public funding, it comes very right with what Uganda in the recently read budget did. We saw that our budget recently increased to a tune of 66 billion. Now, that's good news to have a conversation and, you know, a toast of coffee too, because I mean, this money is coming into the sector, and it's going to be strengthening the cultural creative arts sector as one of the ways that the sector can grow. Ladies and gentlemen, we are still continuing with this broadcast. We are celebrating World Culture Day 2025, and still continuing. Omwami mumulabye mugenyi mupya leero tukola kasavu kanyama tutandikidde mu luzungu tugenda kuddako mu Luganda gye binagwera abe Acholi abe Busoga abe Ankole ennimi zonna tugenda kuba tuzoogera Olunyarwanda Olukiga byonna sebo nsanyusa okulaba olunaku lwa leero. Tusooka lulimi ki kati osobola osooka n'obuuza abalabi baffe mu nnimi nga 3 basooke bamanye nti kye tuliko tuli mu culture.
Well, wow. It is a pleasure to be here. I'm the chairman of Uganda Traditional Forum, so I take time to at least recognize and appreciate other cultures.
Yeah.
I can as well say muli mukyeyo tusanyuse nnyo okuba tuli wano okuba tukuza olunaku luno ate njoka nsobola n'obabuuza mu nnimi endala katugeze nsobola bagamba nti mu Kinyarwanda ndeko mu Kinyarwanda tuvugure
luba Lunyarwanda luvandimwe
luvandimwe lwe lwa wano
Olunyarwanda lwe luli lwennyini tugende mu olwo nange
mwalamuse neza era tuli wano okulaba nti tutuukiriza
tweyongerayo. Alright, oyogambye nti oli mukulembeze mu Uganda Traditional Forum.
Yes, sir.
Traditional Forum. Mbadde nsaba nga tutandika osooke onnyonnyola abalabi baffe Uganda Traditional Forum be baani.
Weewaawo kakati wakati mu nteekateeka zonna nga tukuza olunaku luno olw'obuwangwa twalaba nti okwegatta ge maanyi era tubadde n'enteekateeka eziwerako ezibaddewo emabega naye ng'abantu bali bitundutundu buli omu alinako wano wakulembera kati ne tuddira ebibiina byonna ebibiina ebikola ku nsonga z'obuwangwa okugeza ab'eddagala batabula eddagala nga bo banoga ddagala ku ttale waliwo abajjanjaba naye nga bajjanjaba myoyo ku mitendera manyi njagala olwaleero nti tukozesa n'omukisa guno gw'otuwadde wawo ekigambo kye bayita demystifying okugyawo ebintu ebimu okuluŋŋamya ku nsonga ezimu naddala ezitiisa abantu nti bwe twogera ku basawo tulina obujjanjabi bwa mirundi ebiri mu nsi yonna tulina kati ffe bwe nkozesa olulimi lwenjogereramu tulina kye bayita obulwadde bujjanjabibwa na ddagala obwo bulwadde naye wawo kye bayita olumbe tuyige olumbe lwo olujjanjabibwa mu ngeri ez'obwomwoyo eziri spiritual
ez'obuwangwa obwo
era ekigambo olumbe kiviira ddala mu nsibuko y'Obuganda ekigambo walumbe yaleeta olumbe
walumbe abategeera story ya Nambi eyo n'entandikwa y'Obuganda
kakati ne bumbeera eyo bw'oba ogenze mu ddwaliro waliwo oweetaaga kye bayita psychology oba treatment ey'obwongo
diagnosis
ne bakukkakkanya nga teweetaaga makerenda amakerenda galina okwongerezebwako ekitundutundu ekyo ekyokubuulirwa kyova olaba batera nnyo okutandika ne consultation sooka ogenda oyogereko ne doctor oluusi omuntu omu ayinza okwesanga teetaaga nakubwa mpiso kakati ensonga ezo njagadde ffenna tumanye naddala nsoose n'akatundutundu ak'abajjajja abo abajjanjaba tulinamu abazze basikira mu DNA zaabwe nga si kya mwoyo naye nga kitambulira mu kikula kya famire mu musaayi nga bamanyi ebyeddagala nga bwatunula bwati atunulira akakoola n'agamba kati ako kawonya naye oba takakozesa
nga kiri mu lunyiriri lwabwe jjajja
yakikola ne jjajja w'abajjajja
n'omwana kati
mulimu n'abayunzi nga tulina n'ekika ky'abayunzi nti ab'engabi bwakukwatako bwati ne waba takunyize nnyo amagumba gawona kakati ekyo kiba kizaale kakati ne kubeerako n'abantu nga bw'ogenda mu ddwaliro bw'engereza nti ogenda mu ddwaliro ne bagaa nti ogenda mu psychiatric ward kubanga bwe tubuuza abantu ebutabika bajjanjaba ki
bajjanjaba balwadde ba mitwe
abanno oyinza n'okwesanga nga abantu abo si balwadde abasinga nga byampewo bye bibatawaanya
lumbe
nga tebeetaaga makerenda tebeetaaga ebyo byonna bye babateekamu nga beetaaga kubaako oyo batuula oliako ne akwatagane n'obwomwoyo bwabwe mu ngeri emu
abamu abaliyo bagamba nti onalabika abadde anywa nnyo ketumuteeke wano bagiyita rehab emyezi 2 nga tanywa
oli mutuufu naye nga weebuuza kiki lwaki abadde anywa nnyo manyi tujjanjaba nnyo kubanga era ne bw'onoomukola bw'atyo nga kiri ekintu kikyaliyo era ajja kwongerera adde emabega sliding back so tulina abantu abo tubateekateeka ku mutendera era ojja kwesanga nga enteekateeka eya Uganda Traditional Forum ereeseewo mu myaka gino ndoza twakatambula emyaka 4 ereeseewo enkola eyagala okuteekawo kye bayita standards nti ne bwaba musawo twagala tutuuka ekiseera nga wadde musawo muganda asobola oba wakinnansi abeera ne layisinsi
kye bayita professionalizing
exactly kati awantu awo wetwaviirayo nti kati esaawa enayogera nammwe ndi Professor Mulamba nina ba doctors tulina Dr. Sekajja tulina Dr. Nambatya abantu abavuddeyo kati Dr. Sekajja mukwano gwange ennyo gwe tuli naye awo mu kuteekateeka yafunye ne PhD mu busamize
yeyo gye bakolerako public gundi gye naliko Emakerere
era n'agiyita bulungi waliwo public gundi yaliyo Emakerere naye yagifuna Mbalala era ne kireeta nti essaawa eno twagala tulabe eddwaliro si kyokka njagala okizzayo n'emabega nti era mu kafuba oyo w'emyaka gino egyo gyetandikira mu bye twakola mu covid nti covid ku nkomerero twakizuula nti eddagala ery'ekinnansi lye lyali lisinga okuweweeza abantu ne bandibadde nga tebavumu naye nga mu kuweweeza kubanga bino ebintu bya ssenyiga viruses kiba kizibu nnyo kola ki okuzijjanjaba ne ziwa naye ate bw'ogiweweeza ebula kakati mu kyo president yaddira n'asayininga gye bayita Traditional and Complementary Medicine Act kakati ebintu ebibadde biringa ebyokusaaga nti omusawo w'ekinnansi abadde talina na tteeka limuregulatinga
ng'ali wansi nga bantu boogera omanyi abantu bakyogerako bulala
ng'ekyemabega ennyo era nga bagamba ati ogenda otya ew'omusawo ow'ekinnansi essaawa eno tulina etteeka tulina n'enteekateeka gye njogeddeko tulina amasomero
mulina abayivu
tulina abayivu
Dr.
Sekajja alina Sekajja Institute of Traditional Healers eri gazetted bulungi tulina Dr. Nambatya akolera ddala munda mu kitongole ekya gavumenti ekya NDA okulaba nga twamonizing enkola z'ebintu bino tusitule ng'abayindi ng'abachina bwe batuusizza ebintu ebyo kale ekigenderwa kyonna kwe kulaba nga tuteeka era ekigendero kiri mabega wa UTF Uganda Traditional Forum kwe kulaba nga tuteekawo enkola eziri ku mutindo era nga ne bano tulinako ekitundutundu ekinene ekyabaweereza b'omutonzi.
Alright. Kwata mukati n'ennyaawo.
Yes.
Basebo ne banyaba batulaba olunaku olwaleero tukuza olunaku lw'ebyobuwangwa. Olunaku luno amazima gali nti lukuzibwa buli 21 omwezi ogwokutaano omwezi ogwa May. Naye nga bwe twategeezeddwa Mwami Kyarimpa okuva ku Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development nti omwaka guno waliwo ebintu ebirala gavumenti bye yali egezaako okukola ne tutasobola kuba nti tukuza olunaku olwo ku lunaku lwennyini lwe lwalina okucelebrating olunaku lwa 21st May. Kati olunaku olwo tuli kulujaguza olunaku olwaleero ku National Theatre wano era nga tugezaako okuba nga twogera n'abantu ab'enjawulo kubanga bagezaako okugatta eddoboozi ku culture n'obuwangwa bwaffe bwe tugezaako okuba nga tujaguza olunaku olwaleero. Kati omwami gwendi naye Professor ate mulangira Wasajja Kiwanuka. Kati omwami ono ye chairman wa Uganda Traditional Forum. Traditional Forum eno yekwata abantu bonna abali mu mirimo egy'ebyobuwangwa. Kati mulimu abasawo ab'ekinansi, mumanyi mulimu abasawo abayunzi, abakola eddagala, abatunde, bwegamba bonna bajja ne bafederatingira mu forum eno. Ye mwami gwe tuli naye wano olwaleero era nga tubadde tugezaako okumenyaamenya ezimu ku nsonga ez'ebyobuwangwa okudemysifying abantu abamu bwe muwulira ebyobuwangwa mutegeera bintu birala, abamu bwe muwulira ebyobuwangwa mulowooza kuloga. Naye omwami ono gwe tuli naye wano olwaleero aligezaako tulaga nti eno industry yaayo erina ebintu byekola ebyenjawulo, mulimu abajjanjabira ddala era n'agezaako n'okutugamba nti endwadde ezimu ffe ze tulowooza eno nti ndwadde amazima ddala si ndwadde naye lubalumbe. Awo wennyini ku lumbe n'obulwadde bwe tuba tudda.
Sebo nga tuli ku nsonga eyo yennyini mu kuteekateeka kuno nga bwe ngambye nti bw'oyingira mu kigambo lumbe oyingira ekigambo ekitibwa spirituality. Ensi ey'omwoyo. Kati ebitulwaza ennyo kwe kuba nti mu DNA yaffe ate mulimu ndowooza ne spiritual DNA tusikira emyoyo gy'abajjajjaffe era amannya agatutuumibwa agasinga gabeera ago agaliko ebyakolebwa emabega. Kakati tugenda ne tulwala, oli n'alwala omutwe ne gumuluma naye ng'omutwe si gwa ddagala gwa lumbe. Waliwo omuntu alina okulondoola nga omutwe gugwa tugamba wawo bajjajja b'erinnya lye baamuwa nga baalwalanga omutwe
nga headaches
era ng'alina n'embeera nti mu mwezi bwe guti. Akati ebintu ebyo byonna nga bwe ŋŋambye tugezaako okuteekawo standards era ku mutendera twawula bwe tutuuka mu spirituality kyejagadde okwongera okunyweza nti bwe tutuuka mu spirituality tulina kye tugamba obwamwoyo obw'obuzaale. Obwamwoyo obw'obuzaale bw'oba nti mu bino bya kika bwe bantu boogera ebintu by'ekika byebiki ebintu bitiisa abantu oli n'atandika aliko ebyekika naye ate era abantu ne batandika n'okutya famire zaabwe. Munzize eyo ate ebyomukyalo bajja kuŋŋamba niko ebyekika. Omuntu ampuliriza togenda kulekerawo okubeera mwana wa kitaawo ba wa nnyoko ne bakitaabo balina abaabazaala. Ekikulu kyonna okusobola okwetereeza mu bulamu buno nga bwe bakugamba nti bw'olya kino n'olya ne kino osobola obutafuna kino ne kino bw'omanya nti mu famire yaffe tulinamu ekintu kino tulwala sikoseero si kibi weeteekateeka. Gwe ne bw'oneekweka nga mu famire mulwala sikoseero era ojja zikola ki? Ojja zifuna. Kakati ne tubeera n'omutendero ogwa waggulu gwe bayita higher spirituality ogwo gwe gw'obutonzi we twegattira. Kakati ogw'obutonzi ogwo gubaddemu kaakavuyo kangi nti abazungu we bajjira wano twalina naffe bakabona baffe. Kakati obuzibu omuzungu bwajja bakabona bali baalina obbakakanya eddiini ekole ki? Kati bakabona ne basigala mu bujjanjabi. Kati osanga nti we twalinga mu ddwaliro kukujjanjaba ebintu by'oku buzaale kati ate abasinga ne bamanya ebyo ne batamanya kya waggulu. Bwe bwa Katonda kyova olaba bagamba obwa Katonda bwali bukoze eki buvuddewo. Kati twagala okuteekateeka abantu nti amasabo gabeere ga bujjanjabi nga bwe tugamba nti mu ddwaliro ogenda bakuba empiso ate n'ogenda mu psychiatric ward. Mu psychiatric ward si mpiso nnyo kubuulirira kuteekateeka kukutereeza bwongo.
Emboozi eno mpanvu nnyo.
Badde njala malirize ne kano.
Kamalirize.
Mu nteekateeka eno nga bwe ngambye nga tuli fe omulimu gwaffe kuteekateeka standards tufulumiza ebiwandiiko ekimu ku byo kyekitabo ekigenda okutongozebwa ekiraga identity yaffe nti naffe ebintu byonna nga tebinnakyuka twalina bye twalina kale n'olwekyo tutaddewo ekitabo ekyo kiyitibwa bibyo
kyawandiikibwa
ekitabo ekyo kirimu emboozi z'abajjajjaffe okuviira ddala mu byobujjanjabi okutuukira ddala mu by'omwoyo era nga bw'okisoma oba oli wa ddiini ki osobola okugamba nti ne kino kyaffe n'enkolagana eno bakadde baffe gye baalinanga n'osanga nti Kabaka Mwanga bwe baamulumba mu ntalo yasibira Teeso gye baamukweka ebintu ebyo singa bimanyiddwa nti Kaabaleega bwe bamuba obutale bwe lwajja yeekweka Mbalango nti ogundi ebintu ebyo tetubirina wabula tumanyi sitoole z'e Bulaaya kale ekintu ekyo tukirese byonna togendeeyo bayibuli erimu ebyafaayo ebimu nga si byaffe omanyi ba Dawudi okuva lwazaalibwa omanyi ba Kerode omanyi ba Pawulo naye bwe bakugamba oyogere ku bantu abajjajjawo bataano emabega tombona n'omugu omanyi kale ekintu ekyo nakyo kigenda tongozebwa olwaleero era tuli basanyufu nti kigenda kujja okutuyunga n'okutukyusa
awo wennyini ku nteekateeka eno ya World Culture Day mwenga ba Uganda Traditional Forum okuva ku kitabo ekimu ku bye mugenda obanga mukola bintu ki ebirala bye mugenda obanga mukola olunaku olwaleero ndabye ettiimu yammwe abantu muwerako
weewaawo olunaku olwaleero tufunye omukisa nti tufunye abantu okuva mu bitundutundu abakola obuwangwa obwaddala obuli spiritual n'obuli mu bintu ebyokutunda ebya bulijjo ebijjanjaba n'ebirala nti tugenda kuba twolesa ebintu nga abantu balaba emmindi tebamanyi mmindi etegeeza ki tulina okukomaga weekuli tugenda kuba tulaga olubugo olw'amakulu gaalo abantu abamu batya n'olubugo oli bw'ayambala olubugo oli neyeekanga tugenda kuba tulaga amakulu lwaki bajjajjaffe baalaba nga olubugo kikulu nnyo okimanyi nti olubugo bw'olwambala teri nsi lyekusemberera ne bw'olwokyako katuna awakaka ne kavaamu ebintu ebyo byonna tebimanyiddwa kakati tujja kuba twolesa omwenge
bakambuze ekibuuzo ekyange ekiri pasono mu ddakiika emu omugaso gw'emmindi gwo gwegulibwa
omugaso gw'emmindi guno abantu bangi is a spiritual thing
si byakuloga baba mujja wano ffe tulaba kakyala b'emizigo oli bw'alaba munne n'emmindi
kakati bw'owala n'ow'emmindi n'owasigala wandibadde omukola ki omuwalana kubanga ekintu ekimu kiri kimu ffe mu nkola zaffe kati kangereze oliteeka okuba manyi ku byeddiini waliwo embeera ng'oyingira mu bw'omwoyo gy'obeera ng'olina okuvaako akozesa ekigambo ekyo ng'olina okuvaako embeera z'obw'omwoyo tezeetaaga kuba na whole senses
olina okusooka
n'ovaako olyoka oyingira mu bw'omwoyo oba togenze kuloga wabula oba ogenze okukomyuninga n'emyoyo egyo
ekirala oyogedde ku ddiini kati nga nze ndi mwami mukatuliki kati nammwe muba n'eddiini
kakati okubeera omukatuliki kibanga bw'ogamba nti nze oyambadde engoye z'omukyayina obeera mukyayina
nedda
obeera oyambadde engoye zaki z'omukyayina wano ng'omuzungu tannajja twali tulina Katonda n'ekigambo Katonda kyaliwo buli omu ng'akiyita mu linnya lye tetusobola kugamba nti omuzungu yajja neki wabula yajja ne Katonda we kakati olw'enteekateeka ennungi abantu abasinga ne bagenda ku Katonda waki ow'omuzungu tekitegeeza nti owo takola ki taliiwo kati kye tugezaako era eno mu Uganda Traditional Forum kwe kulondoola Katonda waffe yalinga atya atuuka n'atya n'omulembe guno gwe tukola ki naye ng'osigaza obwakatonda bwo wabula oli wa ddembe okusigala gy'okola ki era nga bw'obeera ne wardrobe yo ng'erimu ez'abakyayina olimu ez'abayindi olimu n'ezizo ez'obuwangwa bwo wabula ku nkomerero ffe ng'abamu kati nga nze kama kwogera sikkiriza mu ddiini yonna ndala manya gange ag'eddiini ge nalina nagejjako mu butongole n'ensalawo ntegeera enkola z'abajjajjange bwe baategeera Katonda.
Alright, tu celebrating olunaku lwa World Culture Day. Omwami omulangira Wasajja Kiwanuka nga chairman wa Uganda Traditional Forum emboozi tebankadde okujjako gwaginyumya nkiwa mwina we mu settings mu grounds ku theatre era abamu kubatulaba obeera oyagala okweyongerayo n'emboozi eno nze mbuuziza kimu kya mmindi na kya ddiini naye osobola okubuuza ebintu ebirala bingi naddala mu mbeera ey'olumbe n'ey'obulwadde. Mwami Kiwanuka ono agambye ebintu ebyo bibiri byanjawulo olina okumanya ki abamu lubalumbe gwe n'ogenda emulago ne bakulyako emiliyoni
bakulyako, ate
kumbe
n'okubeera.
abaami bano mu Uganda Traditional Forum basobola okubeera nga bakuyamba n'olwekyo tubaaniriza okubanga mutogaddako ku National Theatre wano celebrations zikyagenda maaso. It's World Culture Day, so come join us and be part of the celebrations. Webale nnyo ssebo okubanga otuyiseeko wano. Nja kujja we musetinze neyongere okubuuza ebibuuzo ebirala biyitirivu nnyo n'okulaba oba omwaka ogujja ku lunaku luno nsobola okuba nga nyambalanga gwe. Tweyanza nnyo ssebo okubanga otukyalirako. Ladies and gentlemen, we are still continuing on this live broadcast. We are celebrating the World Culture Day celebrations. Now, like I said previously, this day is globally celebrated on May 21st, but for this particular year we try to push it on this particular date because of the very many other various activities that were happening, and the government suggested that we could push and celebrate. So we are still going to be talking to very many other people in regards to the World Culture Day, and next in line is Mr. Mark Masiko. Now Mr. Mark Masiko works with the Uganda National Culture Center, and he's the research and education officer. We are going to be discussing matters culture because at this particular institution he's the gentleman that is behind the research, the education, the programs. Even this particular podcast is a project that passed through his hands. Mr. Mark Masiko,
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for hosting me.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for this virtual conversation. And you have opened door for conversation. I want to thank you, the social campaigns that are online, for the art and culture.
Yes.
Because we lack this marriage.
Exactly.
We lack this marriage. I want to thank you for opening it up. That it's not only physical, but also online. People can also
catch up
with
follow.
us. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah.
All right, so Mr. Mark, today is World Culture Day, and as per your docket at UNCC, if you could just try to break down, why is UNCC the one spearheading this celebration?
Yeah, but the background of UNCC, Uganda National Cultural Center, we are an agency established by an act of parliament to promote, popularize art and culture in Uganda and beyond. And one of the key aspects is that we create home for these, to accommodate art and culture. So, and for some reasons, we are giving coverage to now celebrate art and culture because in Uganda, culture in diversity.
Yes.
We a multicultural country. So many cultures, so many beliefs, so many values. You had the traditional. So that the interface dialogue, how do we understand even religion? It is a big thing for us. So for us, we are the host.
Yes.
Under Ministry of Gender. So we host, we accommodate all these kind of events. We have exhibition. Mainly my focus is on education,
yes,
where we have symposium, workshops to understand more about culture. What is the contribution of culture in Uganda
to the development,
to the development of the country? So it has not been translated very well. What do we contribute to the economy?
Yes.
So for me, my focus is on how to educate and understand, translate and understand what is the role of culture in our economy. So basically for me, that's my docket. But basically I normally run workshops, a symposium, and even these virtual campaigns, I want to thank you, are one of the campaigns to teach people to understand the dynamics of culture. Culture is not static.
Yeah.
So people think it's about the one aspect, but we have several cultures in Uganda. And one of the key things I want to let you know is that let us appreciate and respect people's culture.
True.
We don't judge. We don't kind of give marks.
Yeah, because some cultures you might find a person from the central here, there are things that they do.
Exactly.
And when he lands on a gentleman like you from the West and it's not done like that, you try to throw shade.
Yes, that's stereotyping.
Yes.
Start doing. So for us, what we ask people, respect, understand, and learn. Let's be students. because to tell you the truth, we have so many things, good things about different cultures.
Different cultures.
So we can pick and learn.
Yeah.
And for me, that's why I'm saying it's one
Right.
of- yeah.
Coming from the education department at the National Culture Center, a few minutes back I hosted ladies from UNHCR. Now
Yes.
that's the UN Refugee Agency in
Yes,
Uganda.
yes.
And they were telling me that the refugees in Uganda are very talented.
Yes.
They would love to spread their cultures even to the masses in Uganda. But some of the challenges they have faced is some of the Ugandans are not as welcoming and inclusive to them. And it's the reason they were prompted to come and join UNCC so that they can actually express part of what they have. And the key highlight for me in there was that as a department, we need to now work out something, maybe research on how refugees can be incorporated into our Ugandan, cultures. All right, Mr. Mark. So the symposium is ongoing as well.
Ongoing, yes.
And the conversation still rotates around culture.
Yeah.
Maybe part of the questions I wanted to throw to you as well. UNCC has very many activities, being the center, the focal point of art culture in Uganda. There are very many events that often happen here. And one of those, the title events that UNCC hosts away from the World Culture Day, is the Uganda Arts and Culture Festival. Before you leave, I would really love you to throw more light to that. What's the backdrop to it? Why does UNCC host that particular festival? And also, how does it throw its line back to culture?
Maybe to go back to the issue of the refugees.
Yes.
We are trying to bring up the aspect of exchange programs.
Yes.
To see that at least we interact with...
As a department, you heard now.
Yes, yeah. We create exchange program, and also make sure that we accommodate, we do outreach programs, even to the communities. And so some of these communities are the refugee communities, taking theater out there.
Theater to the people.
To the people, yeah. So I think that those are in our department we have outreach programs, and I think what you're saying, we need to reach out more to the refugees and make sure to give them a kind of...
And the refugee agency was very open to that collaboration.
Yes,
and when they were here, I promised that I would hand them over to you so that conversations
tried, we have tried. We are working out some exchange programs and based community programs to reach out programs. So it is one of them. So maybe to let you know, Uganda National Cultural Center, we host a couple of events here, and we want to talk about the festival. The design of the festival is that we're trying to create authenticity and originality, and it is being anchored on traditional performance from the regions. We do the auditions in the regions and make sure pick the best groups performers, bring them to the center to highlight at the center. Where one of them we are giving them platform, but also we are giving people to touch and feel the authenticity and originality of culture. Because one of the things that we are being accused of is the murdering their culture. We went to Parliament and people were telling us that we see people dancing in Kampala, something like our culture. Why don't you go to the...
and bring the people who know the exact dance.
There. So we want the design or the template for what Art and Culture Festival is to go deep into the regions. Get the real custodian of that. Get them and bring them to the center.
And they showcase. I think one of the things that will also work to that effect is I was speaking to Mr. Charimpa here, he's a senior culture officer at the Ministry of Gender. Mr. Charimpa said we are talking about the increment in the budget, to the sector for this particular fiscal year, financial year. And he told me that the 60 billion, part of that money is looking at solving the problem of the expansion of the culture center. Currently, UNCC as the center is in Kampala. Now, part of that money that was added to the sector in this particular budget is going to address the issue of the regional centers. Now, I think that particular aspect, when the regional centers are set up, we might even find that every region on that particular weekend, every region is having their own culture
festival and run. But most we want to give them that kind of feel and also come to the center so that people get to know if it is a Bora dance. they see Bora dance from the
The original bit of
If
it.
it is Kadodi from Bali, they see it really feels very authentic and original.
All right. So for this particular festival this year, when is it happening? Dates set yet, or we have a period?
The first week of
November.
First, second, and third. So we make sure that we run it for 3 days.
3 days.
Yeah.
What are some of the activities that encompass?
Of course, we have exhibition, art exhibitions. We have a symposium. We have a couple of, as I've said, we have cultural performances, but also the highlight of mainstream performances.
Yes.
Also, we cannot also align them into our festival. So we have we have fashion, we also want to do food exhibition. So we have a series of activities running, but also we're inviting as I said, we're inviting our even neighboring countries to attend so that we can do exchange program. Last time we had people from Kenya and High Commission of India sent people here. So meaning that it is expanding. We are beyond the borders.
Exactly.
We are not saying that only Uganda, but we are trying to expand.
All right. Mr. Mark Masiko, right there, Education and Research Officer at the National Culture Center. Now, we are talking World Culture Day, culture at broad level, but then also UNCC as the government agency that is responsible for culture in the country internally has its own culture. And part of that culture is the Monday Jam Session. Now, the Jam Session is an event that often happens every Monday of the week. It's a culture that has been at the center, well known, and it has groomed very many talents. Now, in the recent past, the jam went into, it flew into thin air. But the big news is, before we came on set, I was having a conversation with Mr. Masiko, and he told me the good news is the jam is coming back. So, Mr. Masiko, it's from that point that I want to pick from you. What are the arrangements to around the jam session? And what are the plans? Are we having the jam session back? What are the details? Use the chance to
thank you
talk
so
to
much.
our
Thank
people.
you so much, and for that, we are having jam session back every Monday, and one of them, the role of jam session is that to create a platform for young people. The jammers come and interact with equipment, so we sponsor it. We had, as you said, we had some challenges, but right now it's back, and we are having the first, we are launching it on 7th July. And we want to invite everyone to come and attend. We have been into preparations, trying to bring back to entertain our people, to give them a feel and a platform so that where young people can develop their talent. And one of the things that all the big names they came from jam session.
True.
So we can't be the very people to kill it. Yeah, we want to give it again to give platform to the public. So I'm inviting the public that 7th July we are on.
Yeah,
and in a big way, and in a
big
big
and
way,
better.
a big way. So we are under preparation. We shall surprise you. We have so many acts which we don't want to say.
Yeah, to say.
So right now, so we always we give the public what really jam session is coming back.
All right,
and in a big way.
What time does it start? And
yeah, it starts at 6
p.m.
It ends at 10:11.
Okay.
10:11.
Yeah. So if you're out there and you're always looking out for Monday plots, the jam session is the big deal. Thank you so much, Mr. Mark Masiko, for giving us your time in the conversations around World Culture Day. We hope to keep engaging to see how your office works around with the masses, and we shall be here to offer platforms so that we can put out the information out there. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. We are still continuing with World Culture Day celebrations 2025, and next in line will be Ruth Cat. Now, Ruth Cat is a member of us here at the Connect for Culture, and is a member of the Palwood. Palwood is the lead partner for Connect for Culture Africa, the initiative that we are trying to run this particular podcast on, and she's one of the ladies that are very vocal in matters film, Ugandan film. She's an actress, and she's a leader within the Palwood industry, and she's one of the people who have been part of the preparations around World Culture Day 2025 celebrations. Miss Ruth Cat, a good friend of mine, I want to welcome you onto this particular show and say hello to our viewers.
Thank you, Patrick. I'm called Ruth Kat. I'm an actress. I'm also the Secretary General of the Actors Guild.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And today we are talking World Culture Day, and part of the activities that are going to be, showcased or that are happening today are film screenings. And I believe Palwood, as an apex body or umbrella body for Ugandan filmmakers, so I want you to speak in that direction. What is Palwood preparing for us today?
All right. Let's hold this.
Right.
As we all know that film is part of culture where
Yeah.
we tell stories from all sections. Today, I will first say happy
World
World
Culture
Culture Day. Today we have this movie.
This is Zero Alternative,
It's called Zero Alternative.
a Vortex Films and Wings Films
Okay.
production.
It's an initiative of Palwood
Palwood.
together with the Ministry of Gender.
Hey, Ministry ya Chirimu,
It's supporting.
Okay.
This project is called Light for Life.
Light for Life project.
Yes, we go to schools, get their alumni and get their stories and then put them
Bring them
into
to
film.
life.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is the first film that has come out with this project, and we are launching it today on Stream East.
Stream East.
Yes.
First tell us about Stream East. Abantu bamanye kiki twogirako. Jabagamba get it here. Stream East chechi.
Stream East is an online platform that we're going to use for screening our movies. It's a local platform.
Okay.
And getting it, you just go.
Ku Google Store.
You just got the Google Store. No, we are not yet at the
Muri
Google
website.
Store. To the website.
Ayo yenyangu website.
You go to your website. You go to our website. It's called. You go to www.streameast.org.
streameast.com.org.
Yes.
Right? Bojirodinga.
Bolodinga. You follow the steps until you get to the movie that you want to watch.
Kati movie eno
You also
egenda
register.
genda ku stream. Abagenda obera hano ku celebrations za World Culture Day ku theater. Abagenda giraba.
Yes, we are going to watch it and we are going to take people through the steps
Okay.
of registering.
Of registering.
Yes.
Kakati fe abagala ogirabira ku mutimbagano eka ewange nga nzizeeyo egenda beera live ku stream ku channel sawa mmeka.
Right now, we don't know what time we're going to
Okay.
to screen this,
Okay.
but we shall be letting people know and we are on air.
Okay. Okay, so ogambye this project Light to Life, is it?
Light for Life.
Light for Life project mugenda mu masomero nga Palwood
Yes.
ne mukola projects n'amasomero. Kati Zero Alternative eno mwakola na somero ki?
Twagikola with Nyakashura School. It's in Fort Portal.
Nyakashura
One of the
School.
biggest schools in Fort Portal.
Okay. Ndabako wano ku kifaananyi ndabako Ruth Kat. But one of the star acts.
Oh yeah, she's right there. She acted.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm with the star.
You don't have to miss this project. This
Zero-
film, it's Zero Alternative, and you'll see the meaning of Zero Alternative once you watch this movie. It's so nice.
Mu bwempimpi Zero Alternative kitegeeza natuuka nga sirina
Choice.
option, sirina choice.
It's so educative, and we make sure that with these projects we get stories that can help the youth, help the students, and make them have a right direction. You watch this movie, you know what direction you're supposed to take, you know what mistakes people did before, and
Know
what
you
to do. Yes.
and what to do best. One of the challenges that theatre has been facing, all the arts industry, back in the day twabiranga ne programs ezagendanga mu masomero. Theatre to the communities, theatre to the schools. Ekintu kino Palwood kye muli okugezaako kola ne project eyo mwagala solvinga kizibu ekyo nti muzaayo theatre ne talent masomero.
No, we are not really into theatre. This is film. Film is different
Film,
from theatre.
yes. But it's all talent.
It's all talent, and we've seen that film is not really taken down to the schools, to the
Yes.
school level. This is now what we are doing. We want to involve these kids because you can nurture talent right from
Talent
down.
mugijja wansi. Kati ekitegeeza bano abaana masomero the various schools where you're planning to go tusuubire nti myaka 10 tugenda kuba ne big brands mu film nga baana bamwakola nabo mwabajje no musomero.
Yes, nga twabajje no kusoma masomero and we've nurtured them. Though we don't also forget that they're supposed to have their education part of
Era balina
life.
okusoma.
Balina okusoma. You don't think that you've gone into movie and you're
or you know even a career yo books first. So briefly ndaba omulenzi ono yogedde this is Nyakasura School. So
yes.
The lead act.
This is the lead act. It's called Emma from Nyakasura.
Okay.
And we have Raj Kaye, our own.
Raj is a member of Pearlwood.
A member of Pearlwood. And
bakirabe bulungi abatulaba.
Raj and then Ruth Kat, of course. Yes.
Okay.
You know what? While we do these projects, we to support these kids, we bring some of the people who are already experienced.
Okay.
To come and support them in certain roles, not the main roles, because the main roles are acted by the students themselves.
Okay. So omuntu ali eyo abatulaba oba musomero oba headmaster oba mu community nga they would love to be part of project eno nti oba ina somero yandiyagadde featuring what does it take kitekinga kira bakoleki?
There are certain criteria we take while choosing what schools we are going to work with.
In simple terms, batukirire Pearlwood.
Batukirire Pearlwood tuogere kubanga line up nga mpanvu nnyo.
Okay, so Zero Alternative is the movie Pearlwood is screening today ahead of the World Culture Day celebrations happening right here at the Uganda National Culture Center, National Theatre. Church cooking mu Pearlwood, Ruth Kat, gwenga secretary wa Actors Guild. Bichi ebigenda maaso mu Pearlwood eyo mufumba bichi kuba mweba muko partners baffe ku World Culture Day celebrations zino. Era tumanyi nti muyina bingi ebigenda maaso. What are some of the things happening in there that people out here need to know?
Right now we are doing productions, though we already have movies that are on and we're going to stream them, and you can go to Stream East and watch most of those movies. They're already there.
Okay.
At the moment, it's production. Pearlwood is about production only.
Production. Muri kola bukozi. Oyogedde nnyo ku Stream East eyo, a platform, website. Ogambye abantu bagende balabe firimu. Bw'ogendayo firimu bwalala.
Entono nnyo nusu 10.
Kati nsasula ntya? Waliwo options awo.
Options wezika stogenda ku website. You go through the steps.
www.streameast.org.
You first register. After registering, they'll take you through the steps. You just follow until you reach where you're supposed to pay. Because of course you choose what movie you want, then you pay for it. It is renting. You're not buying it. You rent it for 7 days and you're watching it.
Ekitegeeza bwe ngenda enkyo obadde n'engula Zero Alternative. Nino giraba mu nnaku musanvu naye Abanayuganda engeri gye bagala firimu wagigulira wagirabira.
No, like also wagirabira wogigulira wogirabira, but you still have it in your gallery.
In your gallery for 7 days.
After 7 days you will have to pay again.
Kati akasente kali katya. Movie nga Zero Alternative eno bwe njagala ogiraba ku Stream East. Ngeze nze gestarinze ku Google Names ibichi creating account.
Nga bwe ngambye it's 1000.
Nusu 10.
1000.
Kasa.
Yes.
Kintu nga mukiwanise. Akasezeza bwe mba n'omutwalo gwange weekend. Movie 10 ukutaka.
Movie 10 ngolaba.
Pearlwood.
So affordable. You just don't forget to just log into the website and get this.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Ruth Kat for you from Pearlwood. Pearlwood is going to be premiering Zero Alternative today at the National Theatre, and then also on their platform, Stream East, you'll be in position to catch Zero Alternative. Now, Zero Alternative is their latest production under the project where they are featuring various schools, and for this particular production, Zero Alternative, more featuring the Nyakasura School. Pearlwood wadde muli Kampala ekiriza mwagenda Western Uganda soon tunalaba projects eziva eri ewaffe mu Acholi.
Pearlwood, we already there. Pearlwood is not, it's an umbrella organization for filmmakers that has actors, just producers, which means we are not only targeting the central, we are targeting the entire country.
Okay.
So we are there, all places. Soon you'll be seeing a movie from the north. Things are still in production.
Nemu central one atete mutwerabira. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Stream East is the platform where you should be watching. Nze ngenda beera nnyo ku Zero Alternative kuba kapya. Kati weekend plot, mwabanoonya weekend plot, the platform is Stream East mugendeeyo mubeere nga mulaba movie eno part of Palwood. Okay. Ruth Katz, your very last remarks ahead of the World Culture Day celebrations nga tetunamaliriza.
I just wish everyone a very beautiful day today because we are going to experience a lot of things. We're going to see a lot of cultures, and it's very good that Uganda has a lot of tribes,
cultures.
which come with different cultures.
Different things, yeah.
So we are going to experience a lot of things. We're going to see so many things. I just wish that you enjoy your day today.
All right. Thank you so much for sparing time and coming through. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget this live broadcast. Egenda kubebaletera abantu abenjawulo kasavu kanyama, all in the name of celebrating World Culture Day 2025. My name is Patrick Sentongo, your host for today, and we are live on the Living Arts YouTube channel, and it is part and powered by Connect for Culture Africa. Now, Connect for Culture empowers Africa's culture through sustainable funding, and it is also powered by Palwood, which is an umbrella body for filmmakers in Uganda. We are still speaking World Culture Day celebrations, and they are taking place right now at the Uganda National Cultural Center at the National Theatre. Very many activities will be happening, film screenings like the one of Palwood, a Zero Alternative, that will be coming through today. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to be having beauty queens. Now, part of the things that usually happen in this culture world is the aspect of pageantry. Now, pageants are, platforms that give ladies and young gentlemen, young ladies, platform to showcase their various causes through platforms where they come through to model, to showcase their beauty. And to be specific for this particular one, we are going to be hosting Miss Tourism Buganda. But beauty queens bava Buganda wanera ndowooza because of that very reason, because of culture, tugenda sigala mu lulimi Oluganda nga tukyaza bannalulungi okuva mu Miss Tourism Buganda. Amanya asigadde Sentongo Patrick, era nga mu dakiika ntini nnyo ngenda kubamba aleetera abakyala bano abanekanekanye. Omukyalo ono Miss Tourism Buganda agenda kubaako bye Gomez mwe temunnamulaba nze mulengera agenda bakikubye, but we are rhyming under the theme, World Culture Day 2025. The theme is culture and creative industries as an opportunity for national identity and employment creation. Now, this particular edition has a special focus on refugees, and part of the people we've talked with today is a team from UNHCR. Now, UNHCR is the UN refugee agency in Uganda. They shared very many aspects around refugees and how they are very much willing to share their cultures with us. So joining me for the next conversation is Miss Tourism Buganda. Nyabo, nsanyusa okukulaba n'okukyazaako olunaku olwaleero.
Nange okusanga ssebo.
Ng'onyumye.
Bale kusiima ssebo.
Shiba alina akayimba akagamba, kalina layini egamba gw'olinaanye omufaananyi atanaaba. Kati ekyo kyennyini kyonkoledde ddala kubanga onekaanekanye mu Gomesi onyiriridde ddala era nga nnalulungi bw'aba. Miss Tourism Buganda. Nsaba obuze ku balabi baffe era obeeyanjulire.
Ndi musanyufu nnyo okubeera wano olunaku olwaleero. Erinnya nze Nambazira Joan era nga yenze nalulungi w'ebyobulambuzi bya Buganda 2025 2026.
Okay. Nambazira mubeera mweddira ki?
Mbeera musanyufu nnyo nga neeyogerako, mbeera neddira ennyonyi ennyange.
Nnyonyi nnyange?
Yes sebo.
Waliwo nnyonyi nnyange n'ennyonyi muzinge?
Yes sebo.
Gw'oli wa nnyange?
Nze ndi wa nnyange.
Ze zibeera eza white?
Yes
ke
sebo.
ka white kano?
Ako kennyini.
Alright, tutandikirawo culture n'Obuganda ne project gy'olimu ng'eya Miss Buganda Tourism.
Yes sebo.
Birina enkolagana. Mu Miss Tourism Buganda mukola ki?
Neyanziza olw'omukisa ogwo. Mu Miss Tourism Buganda tujjamu mu Miss Tourism okusobola okutumbula ennono zaffe n'ebyobuwangwa byaffe. Tetugendayo kwolesa bulungi kyokka kubanga si kyekikufuula nalulungi, wabula okumanya ebyobuwangwa byo n'ennono zo kikufuula nalulungi omulungi era ggumidde.
Okay.
Yes,
kati gwe walondebwa ddi mu kifo kino?
Nze nalondebwa ennaku z'omwezi nga 13. Omwezi guneno gwennyini gwe tuli mu lwalinaku lwakutaano lwe nafuuka nalulungi wa Buganda.
Okay. Kyemmanyi ku bantu mu nsi yammwe eno eya pageantry.
Yes, sebo.
Mu buli muntu obeera ne cause gy'obeera ozze nayo.
Yes,
gwe
sebo.
cause yo yali ki mu kujja mu Miss tourism Buganda?
Okay, neyanziza nnyo ssebo. Nze okujja mu Nalulungi nalina kozi nyingi naye yasingira ddala okundeeta mu Nalulungi kwe kutumbula ebyobuwangwa n'ennono zaffe mu bavubuka kubanga ndi muvubuka ndi mwana muto nja kugamba bwentyo.
Abakyala tebatera kwogera myaka gyabwe era sigenda kukola nsobi ekyo tokitya sijja kikubuuza ekyemyaka gyo naye ng'oli mwana muto.
Nga ndi mwana muto sinnakula. Kati ng'ekyandeeta mu Bwannalulungi kwe kutumbula ebyobuwangwa n'ennono okusingira ddala mu bavubuka kubanga olaba ensangi zino ffe ng'abavubuka tulekeredde nnyo ennono zaffe okugeza ng'Oluganda oba ennimi zaffe enzaalirwana. Abavubuka abasinga tetwagala kwogera nnimi zaffe, twesiba nnyo ku nnimi zinene ez'Abakyeruppe. Osanga omuvubuka nga yeewaddeyo okuyiga Olugermani naye nga tamanyi na Luganda.
Bayize Olufalansa.
Olufalansa nga alwogera bulungi n'ogamba oba ono Mufalansa naye ng'ate nno mwana Munnayuganda, mwana Muganda.
Mwana yenna ntongo yeddira nkima.
Tegeera nga yenna ambaziira naye nga omugamba njogereramu Oluganda akugamba sirumanyi.
Ku nsonga ye gye waleetanga koziyo ey'okuzza culture eri okugiggumiza mu Buganda abaana ba Buganda wano. Bwe njagalira okubuuza ekibuuzo culture gwe nga ggwe kikyogitegeera ekigambo ekyo culture gwe nga ggwe kitegeeza ki?
Weebale nnyo ssebo. Culture kintu kinene sisobola kukifunza mu bigambo bibiri oba bisatu wabula culture lwe lulimi lwange, culture ye nnyambala yaffe, culture ye kabaka wange kubanga ali kitundu oba kabaka kitundu ku buwangwa bwange oba ku culture yange. Emmere gye ndya, emmere gye tulya buli lunaku nayo culture yaffe kubanga we bakubuuza ng'Abaganda musinga kuwoomerwa mmere ki? Mwana wattu nsobola okwogera ettooke. Ettooke eryo kubanga limpoomera nnyo.
Nga liriko ekinyeebwa nga nze.
Era
kubanze ndiwoomerwa na kinyeebwa.
Ekinyeebwa ekyo si kibi nakyo ng'okitadde ku ttooke. Era nti bwe twogera ku culture sisobola bimalayo. Ennyambala kati ng'olunaku lwa leero nyambadde gomesi nayo culture yange kubanga tuli ku World Culture Day nti ate sobola kujja nga nyambadde bulala nina kwambalanga ennono yange
ogireyo ddala ekitiibwa ky'olunaku olwo.
Ekyo kyennyini ssebo.
Alright. Culture Day olwaleero gye tuselebratinga erimu emitendera mingi era abantu abasinga bagitunuulira from a different world. Some of the people bwe tubadde twogera nabo wano wa partners twogedde n'ab'ekitongole kya UN ekiwa obubudamu aba refugees ne batugamba engeri gye balowooleza culture okuba gwe nga gwe okisimplify nze n'ogamba culture is simply lulimi lwange engeri gye nnyambala engeri gye nneeyisa awo wennyini we njagala okusinziira okukubuuliza abavubuka ennaku zino ebintu bino by'oyogeddeko ebya culture basimiza okuba nga babivaako. Ojja sanga abazadde omwana emyaka mito omwana nga amanyi Oluzungu tamanyi nnimi ze.
Kituufu.
Waliwo Ssaabasajja Kabaka lwe yayita mu moolo emu omuwala n'ayogera Oluganda naye ng'alufudde luzana hekbaake neŋŋamba wano twatuukawo ddi. Kati abazadde buno bubaka njagala obuweereze bazadde kiki beetaaga okukola okulaba nga bazza kozi eno nga bakuyambako kubanga ogituukiriza nga bazza obuwangwa kubanga because family unity yesooka mu culture. Abazadde bakoze ekyo okulaba nga bazza embeera eno ey'obuwangwa kubanga eddamu okuggumira mu baana.
Neyanziza nnyo ssebo. Okusookera ddala nina eŋŋombo gye ŋŋenda okwogera eri mu Luzungu ng'egamba nti charity begins at home. Mu lufuutifuuti okukyogera mu Luganda empisa zitandikira waka. Obugunjufu butandikira waka. Ewaka gega amaka ge tubeeramu. Nti wobeera ng'oli muzadde, omuzadde andaba olunaku olwaleero nkukutira ekintu kimu. Tosuulirira mwana. Okusookera ddala yogera olulimi lwo olw'obuwangwa bwo lw'oba oyogera oba yogera olulimi lwo olukugatta ku nnono zo. Bw'ona olwogera n'omwana ajja lwogera. Naye obeera ng'oli waka ng'oyogera Luzungu omwana togenda musuubira kwogera lulimi Luganda. Agenda kubeera ng'ayogera Oluzungu. Ate n'ekirala twettanira nnyo okubuulira abaana wa gye bava. Omanyi abazadde abamu nze nja kwewako ng'ekyokulabirako nkuze n'abazadde babiri. naye nga taata tabeerawo maama yabeerawo naye neebaza nnyo maama wange olw'omulimu omunene gwe yakolanga.
Maama kyo erinnya lyogere.
Erinnya ye omukyala Mbabazi Florida wadde mukyala Munaranda naye yakola omulimu munene nga ne we mubeera temuliwo oluwummula we lutuuka abagamba baana bange tugenda wa jjajja tabagamba mbatwala waffe nedda ng'abakwata n'abatwala mu kyalo ne mulaba jjajja mwami ne mulaba jjajja mukyala ne babatwala mu nnimiro okulima
ne mulaba ku bakojja
bonna nga tubeerayo n'okukuŋŋaana kw'ekika
okumanyagana
ffenna nga tujja ng'omanya ono ye jjajja ono ye ssenga oli ye kojja naye ate ensangi zino abazadde abamu oba amaka agamu geerabidde okukola kye tuyita okumanyagana okumanyagana okwo kukulu nnyo okutuyamba okumanya ebyobuwangwa byaffe
bangi ne wano mbukulu mu nsonga y'okumanyagana weesanzifa abavubuka n'osanga n'obeera n'omuwala mu mbeera ey'okuba mu kwagalana nga mutunuulira obufumbo obutukuvu ne muyita mu prosesi zonna ne mutuuka ne mwesanga nga muli ba Luganda abamu ne batamanya na kumanya nti mu Buganda wano toyina wasa mu miziro gy'abazadde bo kati nze Ssentongo omukyala nzaala wa Mpologoma ate sisobola genda eyo funa mukyala sisobola funa mukyala mu Bankima kati n'osanga abavubuka oba abaana mu culture zaabwe ng'ensobi zino ezimu bazikola ate nga ndibadde olowooza nti ziri kintu ekisookerwako bye wandibadde omanyi naye nga tebabimanyi.
Kituufu nnyo naye nga tewe tukola okumanyagana oba omuzadde n'ofaayo nnyo n'ogamba omwana kubanga ensangi zino bataata bakola nnyo nti osanga nti taata agenda keera 12 nga yagenze dda adde ku 3 za kiro tagenda funa budde obwo
abaleka mwebase ebiseera ebimu
naye bamaama omulimu ogwo gubeera gwa maama okusobola okuyamba abaana bano kuba awatali maama amaka tegasobola kubeerawo.
Alright. Yes, kati mu question ey'okuba ng'otuukiriza ekiruubirirwa kyo kino mu pageant eyo otuuseewa nakyo obulayo bbanga ki era bw'onooba ovudde ku crown eno gy'oyambadde dream ki gy'olina okulaba nga omulimu guno tegussa tugulaba nga gweyongerayo mu maaso?
Neeyanziza nnyo ssebo okusookera ddala omulimu guno nali nagutandika dda nawe nali nga sinnajja mu pageantry kubanga nze njagala nnyo abaana abato kubanga omwana omuto w'omugunjula ng'akyali muto tasobola kukula n'atakola kye bamuyigiriza nga mwana muto. Ekisookera ddala kye ndi mu kukola nze nga nze kwe kukyalira amasomero ag'enjawulo nga mbuulira enjiri ku nnono zaffe n'ebyobuwangwa byaffe era nga projekiti yange nze ng'omuntu kwe kuyamba abaana abato okusobola okumanya obuwangwa bwabwe n'ennono yaabwe nga mpita mu kyewandiise orphanage kubanga abaana abato naddala bana batabeera na bazadde baabwe bonna bonna tebafuna mukisa ogwo kusobola kumanya taata wange yeddira ki jjajja wange yeddira ki kubanga nze nja kwewange ekyokulabirako neera nze nali simanyi ngeri mubala gwaffe gye guvugamu
omubala ogw'ekika
ekyennyonyi ennyange nga sigumanyi naye we wajja guno omukisa gw'okugenda mu pageantry nayongerera ddala okugumira mu byobuwangwa bwange ne ŋŋamba kenfunye omukisa guno sijja gusigaza nga nze kangwongereyo eri abaana abataabo sijja koma orphanage yange yokka gye njagala otandikawo wabula n'okwongera okutambula amasomero kugenda n'abantu abakulu bayirawo beetaaga okumanya ku bino ebintu kubanga si nti bonna babimanyi. Iyesebo.
Alright, toyanziza nnyo engeri gy'onekaanikanye olina okuba nga wamodolingamukko bwe bali tebannakuwa crown eyo olunaku olwaleero mu ggomesa eno tunaakulaba ng'oyitako ku runway ng'otukoleramu ng'otambulamu ng'omukyalo Omuganda both mbigambo ne mu ntambula yennyini.
Tekirina buzibu ssebo.
Okay.
Mbeera mwetegefu essaawa yonna.
Alright. Tukweyanza nnyo kubanga otwegaseeko olunaku olwaleero Miss Tourism Buganda era tukwagaliza olunaku olulungi. Nsuubira okuba nga nja kusanga eri celebration gye ziri olunaku gye luneeyongera okuba nga lugenda mu maaso. Tukwagaliza birungi byereere era ne cause eyo ffe tugisupportinga nnyo wano. Tusuubira nti maaso eyo osobola okujja ne tweyongera okulambulula emboozi yo.
Tewali buzibu ssebo. Nja kukomaawo nga mpeeredde omukisa ogwo.
Kale. Thank you so much. We are still moving on with our live broadcast ahead of, the World Culture Day celebrations 2025. They're already happening right here at the Uganda National Culture Center. Very many activities that are lined up, we are from Talking with the Beauty Queen. So we are going to be having, various performances, film screening. We had a member from Palwood, they are going to be screening Zero Alternative. Now, Zero Alternative is the first movie of their project that they are doing hand in hand with schools, and soon they will be bringing us very many other films. We are having a symposium also ongoing in the National Theatre Auditorium. We are having talk shows, and this particular one is the title talk show for the World Culture Day Celebrations 2025. So keep it right here on the Connect for Culture platform. We are having various exhibitions. Members from the Uganda National Arts and Crafts Association, that's NACAO, they are trying to exhibit a lot. And fashion shows, we are talking to beauty queens, and still more to come will all be broadcasted live to you right here. And without any further ado, we are still talking beauty, we are still talking crowns, and joining me again is a black beauty, a queen, and we are still talking culture. So let's dive into it. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
I'm glad to host you today on World Culture Day. And as you look through into the camera, I want you to say hello to our viewers and you introduce yourself to them.
It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Awekonimungu Shamira, second runner-up Miss Tourism West Nile, and the Multimedia Queen 2024-2025 West Nile.
Okay, so when you talk about West Nile, we are looking at inclusivity in regards to World Culture Day. West Nile,
yes.
When most people hear West Nile, they don't get particular to know which areas does West Nile cover. So if you could break down for me, what are some of the districts or areas that are covered within West Nile?
So I particularly come from Pakwach district.
Okay.
So we have Arua, we have Zombo, we have Yumbe, we have Madi Okolo. Those are the lists that we have. We have Nebi. As you hear, I think they sound familiar.
Yeah, I know Nebi lately because of Honorable Minister Fiona Nyamutoro.
Yes.
So yourself, you talk of originating from Pakwach.
Yes.
That makes you come from which tribe, which culture?
Analur. I'm a Jonam. Yes.
A Jonam.
Jonam means the land.
The land.
Yes.
But you're Analul.
Yes.
So the kind of language that you speak is called Alul.
Alur. Yes.
Alul. How was it winning the crown for Miss Tourism West Nile?
It was really so good. It was a pleasure. It was an experience that every girl should really come to. I personally have dreamt of being a beauty queen ever since childhood. And when I won the crown, I really thanked God for it.
All right. Understand every young lady that wins a crown or comes through in the pageantry, they have a particular cause that they front.
Yes.
What was that particular cause for you that you chose to bring and expedite during your term of the crown?
As Miss Tourism Uganda, there are very many different tourism activities taking place.
Okay.
I personally, I wanted to do culinary tourism.
Yes.
Because I feel like people have now taken a step back on our food. Right now, youths, most of them be like, I want CJs, I want KFC, I want caramel. Yet the rich proteins, the rich healthy foods are in our culture.
Yeah, they are deeply rooted into our local dishes.
The local dishes that we have. So I personally did that in my
when you were coming for the crown.
Yes, yes.
Okay, you talked of advocating for the culinary, which has a lot to do with the food.
Yes, yes.
So the food from you said Pakwach?
Pakwach, yes.
The food for the alul, what kind of food is it?
It's really a lot. So I'm going to
combination of a couple of foods.
Yes. So I'm going to talk about the delicious delicacy of onang-nang fish.
Onang-nang.
Yes, that is only found in Pakwach district.
Okay.
Yes. So it is. If you want onang-nang fish, you can only find it in Pakwach district. It grows. It's always there, and I've not yet seen it anywhere in the world, or actually anywhere in the world.
So that's part of what makes Pakwach
yes.
unique.
Yes, yes. And it's rich in proteins. Actually, it helps in the bones. If you have actually say joint pain, and as you know, fish is rich.
Yes.
Yeah, it's rich.
So body pains, joint pains, all that fish solves part of the problem.
Yes, yes.
All right. So how has it been, traversing the region and spreading this message? I meet very many of the people from your land. the few times that I visit Cafe Jarvis, and you find young people there trying to enjoy the English delicacies. Do you think some of them have even fallen apart and are detached from the local dishes?
Yeah, I think so. But one of the points that I contested for Miss Tourism Uganda is to bring back and preserve our culture tourism, culinary tourism that we have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Today we are celebrating World Culture Day. And what are some of the things that make your culture unique, the Alul culture?
Our dressing.
Is this the cultural, the cultural, dressing?
Our cultural dressing is that we have these tops.
The tops
and the
made out of
skirts,
chitenji?
Made out of chitenji, and the skirts that have layers.
Yes.
And the local beads that we put them on. Then also we have the also other beads that we have. Then the cowrie shells that we usually put them here and on the legs.
Okay.
Yeah, just due to because the skirt was a bit short. I couldn't
Yes, for
see.
the camera, so you had to
Yeah.
change.
Yes.
All right. So today, shall we be seeing you on one of the stages trying to do your thing?
Yes.
Do we expect to see that?
Yes, I will.
All right. Thank you so much, beauty queen from West Nile. That's Miss Tourism West Nile. Any, last remarks for the people watching us?
Oh yes, my name is Awekoni Mongu Shamira, second runner-up Miss Tourism West Nile 2024-2025, and the Multimedia Queen 2024-2025. I'm under an organization of TIG Network.
What is TIG Network?
True Inspiration Generation Network.
Okay.
It goes around globally and it inspires the youth, be it talent, be it technology, media. Yes, so the youth out there, you have to, it's on our social media handle and YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. You can always find TIG Network Africa.
All right. For the very last of that, I want you to use your local language because we are talking culture and address the people, the young people, the leaders from your community in Alul. Probably I'll pick a word or two.
Nyinga Awekoni Mongo Shamira, Aai Pakwach District, Anya Jonam.
Anyam.
Ania Jonyam. Yes.
Okay. Much more. I want to learn along.
Okay. Tell me what you can
talk about your cause and the message to the young people in the region. Your message to the young people in the region. All right. That will be it. Been a nice time having a conversation with Miss Tourism West Nile right here, and she's part of the beauty queens that just joined us today as we celebrate the World Culture Day celebrations 2025. Thank you so much, Queen, for coming through. I hope to join you later and I watch you model and do your thing on stage. World Culture Day celebrations. We are still here continuing with this live broadcast, and next in line I'll be hosting a good friend of mine from Pearl of Africa Fashion. Pearl of Africa, Mr. Nsubuga represents the fashion stars under their umbrella body, and we are going to be discussing fashion as part of the culture that makes us Ugandan. And without any further ado, Mr. Nsubuga, you're welcome to the show. Where we are right now, ladies and gentlemen that are watching us, the other unique bit about Mr. Nsubuga is that he's the shortest in the room. So ideally, I have a bragging right that I've not seen in a long while someone as short as Mr. Nsubuga. So it's part of culture, and I want to welcome you here. Say hello to our viewers.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ronnie Nsubuga, and I'm the founder of the Pearl of Africa Fashion Alliance. He calls me short.
Yeah.
But I am a 6'4" feet. I have played basketball. I'm into fashion. It's a language I understand so well. I own a modeling agency. I've just seen Miss Tourism on this platform. I'm one of the founders of Miss Tourism.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice to have you on this particular panel.
Good to see you guys.
All right.
Yes.
And let's start with, the Fashion Alliance, Pearl of Africa Fashion Alliance.
Right.
Tell me about that.
The Pearl of Africa Fashion Alliance, to you that does not know, today we have a voice and face of the fashion industry as a whole, and that is the Pearl of Africa Fashion Alliance, a collection of different people that work in the sector, from fashion designers, stylists, footwear designers. We are talking about photographers. We are talking about creative arts directors, people that work within the sector. As long as you are into the fashion industry, then you belong to the Pearl of Africa Fashion Alliance.
All right. For a very long time, in the arts industry, much of what people knew were artists. When people talked about the creative sector, it was artists, musicians, actors, and not so much about, what I would call fashion people is that you were one of the minorities, or your voice was one of those that were never loud.
True.
And I believe the coming of PAFA solved
Yes.
some of those.
That's true.
So what are some of the challenges that over the years as fashion stars you've faced?
Over the years, fashion wasn't, indeed, like you say, wasn't recognized as an independent or as a domain
Yes.
within the creative
the arts,
industry. And it has been very challenging for us to introduce officially the Pearl of Africa Fashion Alliance to the government and, of course, to the whole entire sector, more so the creative sector. But today, this is an orange sector that is growing. And we are happy to say that we are moving forward. Moving forward means that as I speak today, we have influenced fashion to become an independent domain within the creative arts, away from the visual arts, as people used to call it.
Okay.
Yes.
It's an independent.
So today it's an independent domain.
Tegeza-
Ngawulaba music, like you see music, today fashion is also independent.
So do we expect on the 66 billion part of the money that has been injected and put aside for the creative sector?
As I
So will the
speak,
fashion mwinamu?
as I speak to Fuira Bugalo, we have not been sleeping ever since we started.
Okay.
We've been very, very strategic, by the way. So we believe this is the time for fashionistas to now reclaim our position and put up anything to see that at least we also tap into that money.
Into that money.
Yes.
All right. So as we celebrate World Culture Day 2025, I want you to paint for me a picture. How does fashion, incorporate into culture? How is fashion culture?
When you talk about World Culture Day, we talk about culture that is in Uganda, where we see more than 50 cultures celebrating this very D-Day. And you cannot celebrate culture without celebrating fashion, without a doubt. So what we see here, when you see anyone walking, you see fashion walking.
Exactly.
In other words,
at all times, as people, we are dressed.
we are dressed. I am dressed in fashion. He's dressed in fashion. And in one way or the other, whenever you celebrate anything called World Culture Day, you're celebrating Fashion Day. You're celebrating different weaving. You're celebrating different patterns, sketch work of different artists that have crafted all that. And today, as I speak, we are celebrating the back cloth. We are celebrating our celebrating olunaku olwaleero. So we believe today is the day. That's why if you look behind that side, you will see that the theatre today has hosted quite a number of people wearing the back cloth. So today is the day where everyone has to come out and be a part of this food.
Okay.
Yes.
As PAFA, the Fashion Alliance that you
Yes.
represent, what is in store for us, people that are coming to attend the World Culture Day at the National Theatre? What have you prepared for us?
Surprisingly, I would say unfortunately, we came in a little bit late.
Okay.
Since we have an event of intellectual property.
Okay.
So that's why we were not able to perform as expected. However, what we are seeing is extremely good enough for us to say we have been represented.
Yes, attendance itself. Speaking, you talked about the intellectual elements in regards to fashion.
Yes.
Is it that certain fashion elements can as well be patented?
Without a doubt.
Tell me about that.
When you look at the coat that I'm wearing, you realize that it's different from what he is wearing. Let me actually use your shirt here.
Yeah, might change.
Ladies and gentlemen, Guarieyo, the viewers, I'm very sure you can see this shirt very well. The design that is in this shirt is a result of someone's craft.
waliwo eyasooka okukirowooza
waliwo eyakirowooza n'atuula n'agenda ku lupapula and then they crafted this design on paper. So what we are now trying to put out to our people, what we're trying to advocate for in Uganda as part of Africa Fashion Alliance, we want our artists to be able to benefit from all these designs before this work goes viral out there. There's been a lot of infringement around the world where different artisans that do fashion, their work has been stolen, has been misused. It has abantu bangi bakoze ebintu byabwe ne babikozesa bubi. Nosanga big brands trying to take over. Naye, I think this is the time where now we are advocating for such rights in Uganda. So gwali ampulira nga you are a fashionista or you are into fashion, n'obeera ng'oli photographer, n'okiba kifaananyi ekyo ky'oba okubye, okimanyi nti okirinako etteeka, or else ogenda kukuba ekifaananyi okisabe ku billboard enkya weewuunye nga tewafunyeemu ssente. Kati abali mu fashion ojja kwesanga nti waakawo ono enkya oyinza osanga omuntu ng'amukoppye ekitengi oba olisaati ono gy'ayambadde waliwo ate omuntu omulala akikoze
ate ng'ali well placed ng'ajja kikolamu nnyo
yakikubye nnyo. So tuzze okugezaako okugamba abantu nti yessaawa tutandike okuregisteringa designs ezo by registering by registering that artwork gwokoze ku sketchwork because oba otandika pieces zino otandika ne sketchwork notandika n'okuba ne mu pencil biki ebyo. So under URSB we have forced them to have at least fashion be a part of their movement.
Yes.
Kubanga luli music abaddewo ng'abantu bawogana lwaki tetufuna registration of this and this and this, but now fashion also has come through. Twagala buli muntu akola fashion okubeera ng'osooka ku registering a sketchwork wooyo nga tonatandika mufulumya.
Okay.
So that wotuuka omufulumya ng'ekintu ky'ofulumya kikyo. You need to own your craft. That's what we are saying as part of Africa Fashion Alliance.
All right. Thank you so much for trying to paint a picture of how fashion actually equals to culture.
Right.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nsubuga, for being a part of this particular discussion.
You're welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are celebrating World Culture Day at the National Theatre today, and we've been having conversations with various people in regards to how their different kinds of domains rotate and engage and get to culminate into culture. And the conversations will continue later on in the afternoon, but for now we want to go and join the entire team in the celebration. So if you're home, you can as well hurry and just join us right here at UNCC, the National Theatre, so that you'll be part of the conversations and part of the celebrations. We are celebrating World Culture Day 2025, and this is the Connect for Culture Africa. Now, our role right here at CFCA is to advocate for sustainable public funding into this particular industry. Thank you so much. My name is Patrick Sentong. Until the late afternoon, I'll be right back.